Hi, everybody. Welcome to Olive's Tree. I'm Mandy, and I'm one of the 12 branches on my mum, Olive's Tree. And I'm going to, this morning, I'm going to make something that's pretty cool, I think. I'm going to make some homemade crumpets, which we make really often in this house, but I'm going to cook them in the waffle maker. So are they still crumpets or are they waffles? Okay, stick around and let's see what goes in them. So I have this bowl here. And I'm just going to get you where you can see what's going on. And this recipe is so easy. It doesn't have many ingredients at all. So I'm just going to start popping things into this bowl. And first off, I'm going to start with 1.5 cups of plain flour. So I'm just making a mess while I'm measuring it out. Never mind. So that's one. We love crumpets in our family, extended family, friends. We absolutely love homemade crumpets. And I actually love making them. So, yeah. Alrighty. Now I want a teaspoon of baking powder into this mix. And I've got clean hands. I just want to make sure that there's no lumps in there. That's fine. So that's the baking powder. And now I'm going to add in 1.5 teaspoons of yeast. And I'm using this, around the wrong way, Lowen's yeast, and I keep that in the fridge at all times. So that keeps that nice and fresh. I go through quite a lot of yeast, so it sort of makes sense for me to have it in a bigger container. And then I'm going to put in about a bit less than 1/2 teaspoon of salt, but I'm not going to drop that onto the yeast. Now, excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. Into that, I'm going to add about 300 mils of, about 300 mils or so of warm water. And then I'm going to use my favourite mixer from the 50s, and I'm just going to mix it up. Now, that's a little bit too thick. It needs a tiny bit more water. So going about that much, and just make sure there's nothing on the sides, and we'll mix again. I think it could do with a touch more water. Oh, excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat today. Now we just want to beat this. Not for a long time, but we're just going to get it all mixed. Now, can you see that that's falling predominantly in a ribbon? I know it breaks off eventually, but that's the best way that I can, explain it, is you lift the mixer, the whisk or whatever out, and you get a sort of steady stretch. Okay. That's it. That's all the mixing there is. So now I'm going to cover that with some plastic wrap, and I'm going to pop that somewhere warm for about 30 to 40 minutes. It depends on the humidity, the yeast, the flour, the temperature. But, I sort of start checking at about 30 minutes. In the wintertime, when it's quite cold, I sometimes leave it for about 40, 45, but no longer, because the yeast then, it's overproofed. And when you cook your crumpets, they'll rise so high, but then they'll just collapse and end up like little flat discs. So we don't want to overproof this. And every time you make the crumpets, you do get a different result. And for all the reasons I just listed previously. So I'm going to set this somewhere to proof for about, I'm going to check it at 30 minutes, and I'll come back when it's ready to cook. Okay, so the mix for my crumpet waffles is about ready, and I've got my little waffle maker heating up. I only have a one single waffle iron. I'm really the only one that eats waffles, and I actually usually tend to make truffles with this because I'm usually keto. But anyway, you'll get the idea. You might have a 4 waffle maker at home, and that'd be perfect. I'm just going to grab the batter, which I've had just resting for half an hour, and it's very, very bubbly. And I will grab out a 1/4 cup measure, and I'm just going to show you what happens to this batter. So it's risen, it's grown quite a lot, and it's very, very bubbly, which is exactly what we want. All right, so we've got our little maker here, the light's off. Oh, it's nice and hot. Just going to give it a tiny little, I know it's non-stick, but just a dot. And I'm just going to ladle. If I put that there, it's going to be in your way. So, whoops, just going to get some batter in there. Maybe a tiny bit more. Okay. And I'm going to shut the lid. Now, the thing about making these in a waffle maker, you don't have to stand at the stove and watch them closely so they're not burning on the bottom and, adjusting the heat, because making crumpets, a lot of the times I find I spend a lot of time adjusting the heat up high when they start, down a little bit. I don't want them to burn on the bottom. I need to get them all opaque on the matte on the top and cooked before I turn them. And, you've got the rings, and I do have crumpet rings, which I got from England, and they're deeper than egg rings, and they're supposedly non-stick. Well, let me tell you, these have stuck from day one. They have always, always stuck, even with some good greasy. So I decided, well, there's got to be another way. And for the last couple of years, when I go down to my mum's, I always make her crumpets for the freezer. And I always cook them in her pie maker. So what I do is I heat the pie maker up, and it's a 4-cup pie maker. And I leave the lid open. Once it gets to temperature, I spray a little bit. I put the crumpet mix in, and I just let them cook. When they're finished cooking and they're all matte on the top and it's all cooked through, I just turn them over, and obviously the top's not going to touch the bottom because the pies tend to be shaped like this, but the steam makes sure that they're cooked right through in the middle, and that's fine, that's great. So that's another way that you can do these. If you have a jaffle maker, an electric sandwich maker with, how you have the square and then I'll have the line through the middle to, your old-fashioned, do that. Leave the lid open and cook them. They'll still fit in the toaster. Just don't overload them. And another really good one is, if anyone's got one of those little, it's a small oval-shaped electric omelette maker, perfect. Put your crumpets in there, leave the lid open, and they'll cook just fine. I mean, you certainly can do them on the stove if you want to, but if you've got other things going on and you're busy and you're just not going to have more than half an hour to stand there and cook 8 crumpets, then waffle maker, you can leave the lid open on the waffle maker, so you'll get waffle on the bottom and holes for the crumpet on the top. And I will do one to show you what that looks like. But I just think if you've got a waffle, you've got all those little squares for the butter and the honey and, whatever you want to put on your waffle to soak in. So do you really need to leave the lid open to get the holes in the top? I think that part is personal preference. And obviously, you're going to re-toast these until they're, quite golden and crisp. Sometimes I put them down twice until they get to where I like them. But that's personal preference as well. You might like yours soft still, so just warm them up. I don't know. Do whatever you want to do there. They'll be your crumpets after all. So I'm just going to, the waffle light has gone off. The waffle maker light has gone off, sorry. And we'll just have a little sneak peek, because I do find with this little one, it's not as hot. It doesn't cook as quickly as a big family 4 waffle maker. But I don't need a 4, I only need that. So I'll just do them in that. It's simple. Let's have a bit of a check and see what's going on. Okay. So the light went off and come back on. Okay, so we've got the perfect amount, but for me that's not brown enough. So I want to make sure the crumpet dough is cooked all the way through, so I'm going to leave it for a little bit longer. And I'll try to remember to cook one on the stove so that you can see what that looks like when it's finished. I might not video it though, because it does take a while. We'll see. I'll see how I go. Alrighty, let's just have a bit more of a look. Ooh, quite crispy, as you can see. And you could take it out at that point, or you could, give it a little bit longer. It's probably long enough, to be honest. So let's take it out and get another one in. So let's just pop that one down. And we'll just go in with another, just slightly over 1/4 cup of mix. And we'll just let that go. Okay, so out of that mixture, I got, what did I get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I ate 1, 7, and these 2 full-size crumpets that you can see. And I think it comes out at less than 70 cents for those. So it's well worth giving a go to. And yeah, let me know what you think about the recipe. They are absolutely delicious. Don't overcook them in the toaster. They will burn quite a lot faster than purchased crumpets. So until next time, take care. I hope the world's treating you kindly, and bye for now.